Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Sejanus' fall, and we get to hear from Sejanus again today in Act 2, Scene 2. He has a lot to say, but there's a lot of plot-ish ground being covered in this particular scene. He spent the first half of the scene sitting with Tiberius and convincing Tiberius that it's okay to be a little more maybe tyrannical in his approach to governing. He doesn't have to have everybody like him all the time. And Tiberius eventually came around and said, like, yeah, I've been really concerned about the Agrippina group, and it's time to get rid of them. So where do we start? Who do we get rid of first? And Sejanus said that they need to get rid of Silius first because he was a military hero, so that would really take the wind out of their sails if they lose him. And Tiberius, after a little convincing, was like, okay, let's do it. How do we go about arresting him, bringing him to court? Sejanus is like, let me worry about that. And Tiberius is like, no, I want to brainstorm. And he's like, no, let me worry about that. You just set up the courtroom. I'll make sure that Silius is there and ready to stand trial. And then, so Tiberius leaves, at which point Posthumus entered, and Sejanus was like, oh, great, what kind of reports can you give me about the Agrippina group? Because Posthumus has been sort of stalking them, sort of spying on them, and he's been following them as they've been going out, and sometimes trying to engage them in conversation, but they either don't take the bait or they're speaking in code with each other and blah, blah, blah. So Posthumus really doesn't have a lot that he can report on Agrippina's crew at this moment because they're not doing a whole lot. And he's like, even Agrippina herself seemed like she was maybe going to start to say something, but then Sabina's like coughed and she shut things down. And what he says, what Posthumus says right before today's monologue, he's like, if it wasn't for this cough, she was beginning to swell. So Sejanus says, and may she burst. Julius, I would have you go instantly unto the palace of the great Augusta, and by your kindest friend get swift access. Acquaint her with these meetings. Tell the words you brought me the other day of Silius. Add somewhat to them. Make her understand the danger of Sabinus and the times out of his closeness. Give Aruntius words of malice against Caesar, so to Gallus, but above all, to Agrippina. Say, as you may truly, that her infinite pride, propped with the hopes of her too fruitful womb, with popular studies gapes for sovereignty, and threatens Caesar. Pray Augusta then, that for her own, great Caesar's, and the public safety, she be pleased to urge these dangers. Caesar is too secure. He must be told, and best he'll take it from a mother's tongue. Alas, what is't for us to sound, to explore, to watch, oppose, plot, practice, or prevent, if he, for whom it is so strongly labored, shall, out of greatness and free spirit, be supinely negligent? Our cities now divided as in time of the Civil War, and men forbear not to declare themselves of Agrippina's party. Every day the faction multiplies and will do more if not resisted. You can best enlarge it as you find audience. Noble Posthumus, commend me to your Prisca and pray her she will solicit this great business to earnest and most present execution with all her utmost credit with Augusta. So there's a lot in this one. Again, it's a nice long monologue that he's sharing. But he starts out with like, we want to undo Agrippina. We want her to swell so much that she bursts like a balloon. So then he tasks Posthumus, whose first name is Julius. So he's like, Julius, I want you to go. He tasks Julius Posthumus with going to Augustina, who is Tiberius' mother, and filling her in on all of this. And he instructs Posthumus to exaggerate, to blow it up a little bit, to inflate things, to put words into the mouths of the Agrippina crew that may or may not have actually been said. But he's like, you need to press on her how dangerous this group is to her and to Tiberius and to the whole country, because Tiberius needs to hear this, and he's going to hear it best from his mom. Like the rest of us, we can sound the alarms, we can try to get through to him, all these sorts of things, but he's still trying to be liked by everybody, so it's not helping. Like the whole country is split in two. There's this side and there's this side, and they're just warring, and Agrippina's side is getting stronger every day, and we don't even know who all of her allies are, because people aren't walking around saying, we're with Agrippina. They're not doing that, because that would be bad for them. So he's like, we need to squash this whole movement. We need to squash this whole potential rebellion before it can actually turn into anything. And the way that we're going to do that is by getting Tiberius' mother, Augusta, to impress upon him how important it is that he act in this scenario. So Julius, having these instructions, he's like, okay, cool. And he runs off. And to finish off the scene, we will get to hear from Sejanus one more time as he lays out his grand plan. Not that we haven't been able to piece it all together from all the other stuff that he said. I mean, he wants to get rid of the Agrippina group. He's even bringing in Tiberius' mom to try to sway Tiberius to get rid of the Agrippina group. He's about to set up Silius. So we'll get a little more insight into the exact workings of his scheme in his monologue tomorrow. But this particular scene is impressive for his skills as a manipulator and an orator. He does speak well. I gotta say that for him. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.